And so we called that Royal Commission, and I warned the country we should brace for impact and be prepared for what would follow. And it has been a harrowing process. The stories, the accounts, the evidence that has been brought together over these several years now are all set out in the Royal Commission, and Australians, as they read them, they'll feel the same way I did, I'm sure. And the Royal Commission has now, I think, set out a very important roadmap, which I think will establish generational change in this country when it comes to aged care. It's the inquiry we needed to have. It's well considered, it's honest, it's positive, it's compassionate, it's comprehensive, it's candid, it's passionate, it's ambitious. All the things I would hope it would be when I called it. And that it could provide me and my ministers and my government, and indeed the Parliament, with what we needed to know in order to bring about this generational change that is needed. And I say generational change because the Royal Commission itself notes that we've been doing things in the system this way for about 25 to 30 years. Under the same constraints, under the same set of assumptions. There have been changes and there's been improvements. That's all true. Of course it is. But we've been operating in the same paradigm, and what the Royal Commissioners, and I thank them earnestly for their work, and all of those who are involved working in the Commission, bringing this together, what they've said is the basic paradigm needs to change. And I agree. We need to make generational change so that the individualised needs and that needs-based care is developed that respects the dignity of the individual Australian. The values, the rights, the needs, this is what must drive the system of the individual. And there was something very potent that Commissioner Briggs spoke of. Life is to be lived every single second, every single minute. It is precious. This is something I've believed my entire life. Life is precious. You don't wait it out. And the fact that Australians feel they are waiting out their life, it's impossible to put into words how you respond to that. So generational change is needed. I thank the Commissioners because they're honest, because they know there are no easy fixes. In fact, they themselves couldn't agree on some fairly significant issues, and so they've honestly provided their different perspectives on that, and I welcome that, and we will consider those perspectives. This will take time. It'll take quite considerable time to achieve the scale of change that we want to and need to. The Commission itself sets out a 5-year time frame for the measures that are set out in their report. And we must also take care in how we do this. The Commission itself highlights the great risks that come to people and individuals who are vulnerable and frail because the training and availability of care workers, because of the governance systems that are in place that oversee the delivery of that care. In many cases, the quality of providers that are providing that care, and the compliance to, and the standards that are set, and the information that is available to help those standards be upheld. So, as we would seek to try and address the many urgent and short-term priorities that are set out in the Royal Commission, we also must exercise care at the same time. We cannot just take people off the street and put them into people's homes and ask them to start caring for people. That would be irresponsible. If someone is going to go into someone's home or go into the room that they're living in at a residential aged care facilities, we cannot compromise on the standards that should be there for those workers to be able to provide that support. And so we will seek to address these significant workforce issues and the standards issues and the quality issues and the governance issues the new Act and all of these things that are set out in these recommendations. But as we both frame our response and then implement our response, we must be careful, because we are dealing with the needs of people who can be very vulnerable and very frail. And so we must take care to do that, and do that in a responsible way. Today, I'm going to ask Minister Hunt to set out the initial, that's just today, the initial response we're putting in place to deal with a number of matters that we had anticipated, having been working through this process now. It totals some $450 million immediately in initiatives that we'll be proceeding with. But there will be more, and it will be comprehensive, and it will be addressed throughout the budget process. I've made that very clear on numerous occasions. I didn't ask this question on the basis of not being prepared to deal with the answer. I was serious when I asked it because I wanted to know. They've told me, and now I'm committed to dealing with the issues that are raised in this report together with my government team, and it will test all of us. It'll test my government, it'll test the budget, it'll test the parliament, it'll test the way in which we are prepared to deal with this issue as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to actually change it for a new generation. That's the test for all of us, and I look forward to working with anyone, all parties, who are prepared to work with us to put in place the right response to this report and what needs to back it up. Over the last 2 years also, while we called the Royal Commission, we haven't been idle. As we've waited for the Commission to do its excellent work, Minister Colbeck has been engaged in putting in place many initiatives, and he can also speak to what they are. They were never intended to be the solution to everything that has been addressed here. They are dealing with the system within its current constraints, within its current paradigm. And that will continue. But the work that now we have the opportunity to do, and I like to see this as an opportunity, we have this opportunity with this report to make that generational change, and I look forward to working with all those who are going to work with me to achieve that.